do that restart. What's going on, YouTube and Twitch? My name is Straight Aggression. I also post on the forums as Straight Kong. I've been playing Halo for pretty much a few years now. My favorite game competitively and the one that I had the most success in recently has been Reach. I hope to be doing these more often. So that is actually what I'm going to be doing. I'm hoping to do these about once every 2 days or so. That's kind of the schedule that I've been looking at. There's been a lot of things that have happened the last couple days, actually. I was surprised, especially within the last couple hours here. So, if you want to keep up to date with me and actually know when I'm going live and you can see these shows live, just actually be sure to follow me on Twitter. And I'll actually bring it up here so you guys can see it. Just follow me on Twitter here at, oh, that's actually Pure Gangsters. That's something that's coming up. Just follow me here on Twitter on at straight aggression. So here you'll see all my tweets regarding team changes, things like that. You can keep up to date when my HaloCenter episodes go live, as you can see now. Like a little tweet comes out and lets you know that I'm going live. Also, you can see when I'm actually live streaming Halo. So when I'm playing Halo 5, when I'm playing Halo, Halo 2 Anniversary, doing PGL with the team or whatever, you'll see it all come up live here. So that's pretty much it for introductions. I'm going to jump actually right into the discussion of what I actually wanted to talk about today. So, first thing on the list is APG is actually a free agent, which is surprising. So you'll see in his tweet here it says free agent. APG is an amazingly good player, and I'm extremely surprised to see that he's a free agent. Now, we don't know if he was dropped or if it just ended up, he just decided that it was best for him to walk away from BTH. I did on my previous tweet mention that it was very likely that BTH would see some team changes, just because their placing was very disappointing. I think they got top 12. And for a team of their caliber and a team of their skill, that's not acceptable, especially when you have a player like Pure Gangster that has consistently been on a top 4 team for the last couple of years. He's a very good player. That's going to cause a lot of ruckus. So usually how Halo works is it kind of comes in a hurricane. So the moment you have your first team change, things go crazy. And you'll notice that a lot of other teams start basing their decisions off other team changes. And before you know it, rosters will look drastically different than you previously thought. Teams that you didn't think would make a team change are suddenly making a team change because there's a player available that is just too good to pass up. So a Pure Gangster is actually an example of that. There's going to be a domino effect based on it. So where's he going to go? That's the tricky part, actually. So if we go to the team list here for all the teams, if my internet allows me to do that, it's looking like it won't. I'd have to say that probably the top 3 teams won't be actually. I don't think the top 3 or 4 teams are going to be changing. So when you look at Counterlogic Gaming, they're locked in. They're an amazing team. They have an organization. They're probably under contract. I can't see them having a team change here based on, let's say, trying to pick up APG. You look at Evil Geniuses. You know what? This is a little bit of a wild card. I hadn't even considered this, actually, up until right now. But Lethal just got on the team, and I understand that Snipe Down has had, obviously, a little bit of a history with the Pure Gangster. He's teamed with him before. If I remember right, and I could be wrong on this, but I think he was actually teaming with him prior on Ambush. So that's a team change that you could see happen. But I don't think so. Like I said, I don't think the top 3 or 4 seeds are going to make a team change. Denial just came off of an event win. They're not going to do anything, obviously. They're also an organization, so I think as far as them making team changes, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Here, let me scroll up so you guys can see it a little better. So 4th place is Optic Halo. Once again, I mean, yeah, would it make sense for them to pick up a player like a Pure Gangster? I think on paper it would be an upgrade. But Flamestor does not have a history for making team changes. He's stuck with the same group of players in Halo 3 on status quo for years. And he doesn't make team changes unless a person leaves the team, really. I mean, that's what we've seen. I don't expect that to change all of a sudden. So I don't think Optic's going to change at all. So When you actually go past that and you start looking at, say, the fifth, the sixth ranked team, seventh and eighth, that's when things really start to get interesting as far as where team changes can really happen. Cloud9's a really good team, and they've been playing hot the last bit. They had a surprisingly disappointing event here at UGC St. Louis. I expected them to be the top 3 team placing wise. They didn't do as well as expected. So when you look at them there's a chance. If I had to guess who would get booted in that situation, I want to say Ninja. The only tricky part about that, though, is that he is the captain of the Cloud9 organization. So to do it something like that, I don't know if that's possible. I don't. They might not even be allowed to, contract-wise, to make a team change like that. Then you have Straight Rippin'. This is the big wild card, actually, in this situation. So Straight's one of the few top teams that, to my knowledge and to the public's knowledge, is not actually under any contracts or an organization. So they're a little bit more free as far as being able to make team changes and make decisions as just a team and not have to worry about a higher power jumping in. So T squared, Nated, Straight Sig, Prototype. It's a good team. On paper, it's a solid team. But they've gotten 6th place in the last 2 events, but they don't have that it factor. And I know that's hard to explain, but it's like they just don't have that explosive ability to change a game and really take things over. Nated does. He's done that since Halo 2. But after that, a lot of the burden falls on his shoulders. Straight Six really, really good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's just his playstyle is more consistent. And that has obviously its strengths. But when you need a player to just take things over for you, I don't necessarily know if that's his style of Halo. He's just a very consistent player. So I could see a team change happening here. Especially, like I said, because there are no contract obligations that I know of for that team. And they haven't placed exactly the best. T Squared's even been complaining that, and this is not directly for this complaint, right? But he's been complaining about prize money and things like that. So if he feels that he just needs to make a team change to be the most competitive team, and that's what's really important to him so he can make money, I could see that being a possibility. If I had to guess, I'd say Prototype. I mean, T Squared's been teaming with Straight Sec just a little bit longer since obviously the Invitational. So I don't think that team change would necessarily happen. I think Prototype would be the one to go if they had to. You look at Believe the Hype, I think that team's going to crumble. Obviously, APG's off that team. The other 3, I don't know. I don't know if they're... I mean, Maniac and Clutch are probably going to stick it out as a team of 2 because they've known each other for a long time and have teamed previously. But at the same time, if they get a really good offer from a team that suddenly made a team change, things could change quickly, right? I think there could be a storm all of a sudden, and they might just split up, and BTH might just cease to exist. Legit, obviously, an extremely well-known name in the Halo scene. He's a beast. I mean, that's the best word to describe him. He's a consistent juggernaut. So he's obviously a player that also people might be looking at trying to snag from Believe the Hype. There's just not a lot of teams, though, that I can actually see making a team change. Like, as much as there's potential to have big moves that could change things quickly, I don't actually, just the way that the organizations have come in and changed the way that competitive Halo works, I don't actually see that being as prevalent as it could have been in years past. VWS, I just don't, they don't have enough of a name, or they haven't had a crazy high finish for me to say that one of the top players that you see on that leaderboard are going to want to change to them. I could be wrong. Once again, I don't know a lot about them in comparison to the other established professionals, but there's a chance that you could see a team change happen, based just on just a fluky thing. Like I said, though, I don't expect it. So, that's pretty much it for the team change wise. I would expect to see a lot of changes coming in the next day or so as teams try to figure things out and in time to do the Sunday HCS Cup. So switch topics actually now to the prize money discussion. So a lot of players on Twitter have been complaining about that they were lied to. Now, once again, there has not been enough details released on the matter to know what's really going on. But people were saying that they were told that there would be a $500,000 on the line at the finals. The simplest solution that I can think of is that those 500,000 that are supposed to be in circulation at some point for a finals is for a year-end finals. And somebody brought up a good point. I think it was Tiberius Audley, and sorry if I butchered your name, but he did mention that PAX Prime is in Microsoft in 343's backyard. So that's actually right by them. And that's where they held the Halo 4 Global Championships, where they had the huge prize money. If there's going to be an event that's going to have a 500,000, it's going to be a PAX Prime at the end of the year. And that wouldn't be a season championship. That'd actually be a year-end championship. So right now, there's a season championship of $50,000, which is actually, in my honest opinion, a huge step forward from where we were before. When you were looking at like the prize money that AGL was bringing in when it was Halo 4, or even in just the last few years, we haven't had anything close to a $50,000 prize pot, with the exception of the Halo 4 Global Championships, which weren't really the competitive Halo that most people were used to watching in the competitive scene, like 4v4s and things like that. It was just a free for all, which was great, but it's not the traditional format that we're accustomed to seeing. So $50,000 is a lot of money, honestly, especially when you think about it in the sense that in 3 or 4 months, there's been a $20,000 tournament in Iron Gaming Columbus, as a $20,000 tournament in like $22,000 tournament in UGC. There's a $10,000 tournament for Gamers for Giving, and I mean, I don't know. It's possible that might go up, but that's probably going to stick at the 10,000. And then you've got a $50,000 year end or season end, sorry, tournament with at the ESL finals for the season finals. That's a lot of money in 3 or 4 months. I mean, actually, if you compare that even in the MLG days, that's very comparable as far as money and time. The thing was, the MLG days, you'd have one competition in 3 or 4 months. So teams had more time to practice for a single event, and there obviously wasn't as many flight costs or travel costs associated with that because they just went to one event. Um, the good thing about having more consistent competition like this, obviously with the inclusion of the online cups, is that you have more consistent pro involvement. So before, let's say when MLG was holding tournaments and things like that, pros would get out of the tournament and they wouldn't play for a month. You would literally almost not see them on for at least a couple weeks. They would just disappear off the face of the earth. Consequently, the competitive scene kind of had a kind of a sleepy period right after events because, well, it's done. There's nothing else to look forward to for another 3 or 4 months. So when you look at how these consistent every week tournaments are coming up on online and in tournaments like actual settings, like larger tournaments like UGC and Iron Gaming, there's a lot more competition all the time. You're seeing pros have to be more engaged because that's the only way that they can consistently make money, that they can keep their seeds. It's extremely important. And to be honest, I think that's great because um, you just have more competitive Halo all the time. Once I'm sure the prize money will continue to scale up, and like I said, if there was really supposed to be a $500,000 finals, I can expect to see it at PAX Prime, not necessarily at PAX East, which is the season finals. So I think people are jumping the gun a little bit in the pro scene, thinking that they got lied to. It's possible that whatever they heard, and once again, this is all just he say, like we have no idea what's actually is supposed to be true. 343 hasn't said anything on what the prizing structure is going to be at the end of the year. So, but most likely thing is that the championship finals at the end of the year would have a prize pot as large as that potentially. Um, as far as UGC, I think they kind of goofed when they paid out the top 16 because you broke the $22,000 that they paid out, and they actually paid it out to the top 16. But if I remember right, 16 through 4th got paid the same amount. You got paid the same amount placing 4th that you would if you got 16th. That doesn't make sense. To place top 4 in a Halo tournament is insanely difficult. The only a select few Halo players ever come close to actually placing that high. So to see that disparity and have the same amount of money is ridiculous. It was a great idea. I mean, when I first heard that UGC was going to pay out the top 16, I was actually excited. I figured more teams are going to make a living off of being able to do this. It sounds like a great thing, but it splits up prize money too much. It spreads it too thin. To be honest, if UGC really wanted to be generous, I would have just paid out top eight. It would have still had a fairly larger payout in comparison. When you have pros like Assault complaining that they got $137 in earnings, that's that's not really enough to even consider traveling for. I mean, they have the organizations which help cover those costs, but still, $137 isn't enough. Until prize pots grow, until things continue to improve, I think you should be paying out either the top four or the top eight, nothing more. I don't think they should be going all the way to the top 16 as far as payouts. It's just too much. So I applaud UGC's um, thinking. It would have been great, but it's a bit of wishful thinking. I don't think it was what they should have been aiming for right now. There's just not enough money. They should have paid just simply out the top four or the top eight. Um, also comes down so the orgs paying for those teams to be able to travel, I'm assuming, right, is also really important to the way that competitive Halo is now. So because there's so many more tournaments more consistently and all over the country, so you're like places like St. Louis, places like Columbus, they're all over the place, right? The importance of organizations to be able to cover those costs for pro players is huge. On top of that, they have huge fan bases behind them that can tweet out the Halo streams, that can let people know that there's actually an event and drive our viewership forward. It's crucial. It legitimizes us. It shows that hey, Monster Gaming on EG is supporting Halo, or um, all these huge names that are backing Halo. That's not something we've had in years. Not since say Doritos and Dr. Pepper were with MLG prior. So I think it's great that the orgs are in there. We just have to continue to grow. It's a work in progress. We had nothing a few months ago. We've got something now. Is it flawed? Is it broken? Yes, it absolutely is. But it's better, and it can get a lot better. You just have to have some patience, and it's a growing process, right? Um, that's pretty much it, honestly, for this show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat if you want me to discuss something else, and I'll actually be happy to do that. I'm actually just looking at my Twitch chat now. What's up, Obliterate? I see that you said, what's up? If you have any questions, feel free to post them. Otherwise, I will be going live again probably in another 2 days, unless a crazy storm happens tomorrow and another 10 team changes happen. We'll see. But like I said, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to wait another 5 seconds or so, about see if anything's going on. What are your expectations for the next event? So Game is Forgiving, I'm assuming is what you're asking. Um, I've heard Gamers Forgiving actually has a really good reputation as far as their setup and how they've done it prior. And actually Voodoo Man, aren't you? I think you're actually the one running that tournament, if I remember right. Honestly, I just expect something because it's going to be, to my understanding, a slightly smaller tournament. I don't expect it to be as hard to manage as say Iron Gaming was or UGC was because you're probably going to have less teams. I just want something fairly smooth. If your wait times are comparable to Iron Gaming or even a little bit better, I'd be happy with that. I just think UGCs were a little outrageous at times. Um, I Gamers Forgiving is obviously a great organization, and what they're working for in charity is a wonderful thing. And it's cool to see it turn into a legitimate HCS sanctioned event. I just expect good Halo. I'm an optimist when it comes to Halo. I just like watching professional Halo played. Um, I love it when, let's say, my favorite team straight rip and plays. It's something that I really enjoy watching, and I really enjoy just being able to be involved with. Because for years, actually, I wasn't able to enjoy that. So to see that going on is great. I haven't seen your previous events for Gamers Forgiving, so I don't really know what to compare it to. All I can say is if you can do it better than you did last time, you're headed in the right track. And I think that's bound to happen. I've heard really good things from you guys. Yeah. I don't know. If there's anything else, you guys can feel free to ask and I'll keep going. I guess I'll fill it in with if you guys want, like I said, follow me on Twitter at Straight Aggression. and I will go live all the time with these Halo Center things or with my own live stream gameplay of Halo 5 or Halo 2 Anniversary or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, guys, for watching. Feel free to tune in either tomorrow or in the next 2 days. And I will be going live again with Halo Center Episode 3. Oh, there's one more thing. We plan on having 2 streams, second stream for the other tourneys, so people can go there for downtime. That'd be great. Actually, UGC talked about having two live streams going on at the same time. Um, it they never did it, and I don't really know why they didn't. But that sounds great because I mean, I think MOG had that going for like 1 or 2 events where they had 2 streams going on at the same time, and you could switch back and forth when there was downtime. Um, that sounds awesome. If you guys can pull that off, obviously your downtime is going to be a lot better than it was the first time around. I think honestly, have webcams. Like the you could go and get the $10 variety at Walmart or Best Buy or whatever. But none of the major Halo tournaments, with the exception of like the last round or 2 for UGC, had webcams on their players. Like, I think that's crazy. I love seeing reactions to players when they got a triple kill or when they got a crazy snipe or when they simply outsmarted somebody. Nobody's done that in the last few events. So I think that's a hopefully fairly cheap fix, and you can just have it on the main stage. But I just think that's something that would enhance video quality almost right away. And also, please don't lock the stream to be source for subscribers only. That's something UGC did, and it annoyed a lot of people. Their own crew, so it's up to them. Hopefully, they bring that. Good point. Yeah, I mean, obviously 343 helps you guys with the Twitch setup, gives you guys the resources you guys need to do that. If you have a way of getting in contact with them earlier, I would mention that because, like I said, no other tournaments had it. And I think that's crazy to me when every single stream that you watch online has it, and no professional level streams at tournaments have that. Uh, I think that's a little ridiculous. But like I said, if it's out of your control, totally get it. It's fine. I just hope you guys can figure that out. And yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I'm here. You keep shooting your questions and I'll keep going. What else? Because yeah, we talked about cameras. So cameras, less downtime. Um, the payout, make sure to pay out obviously just the top teams. Um, I love to have you both as Twitch mods during the stream. I would be interested, actually. I'd love to do that. The only thing is I'm a student and school's going to be ramping up here in a bit. But I'd once again, I'd love to be a mod for your stream. That I'm totally okay with that. I just don't know if I'll have enough time to really watch all the tournament and be able to mod as much as I want to. So I will absolutely take it. I just don't know if I'll have enough time. And yeah, thanks guys for watching. Halo Center Episode 3 is tentatively scheduled for 2 days from now. However, if a lot of team changes happen and things go on, I will definitely do one tomorrow. If you have any feedback, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me on here, on Twitter at just straight aggression, or on the forums at teambeyond.net, and I will be happy to say whatever it is that you want. That's pretty much it for now. Thanks for watching, guys. And peace.